Hey Shoujo fans, and welcome to episode 63 of the Shoujo Sundae podcast. This week we're going to be talking about episodes 7 through 9 of Sasaki and Miyano with Carola and Amanda from the Yaoi shelf. Let's dig in.
Our anniversary is in July, so it's next month. If you would like to leave a 1-minute voicemail about what Shoujo Sundae means to you, please do so at the SpeakPipe link in our show notes.
Okay, first and foremost, welcome Amanda, welcome Carola to Shoujo Sundae. We are so excited to have you on to talk about Sasaki and Miyano.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
We're so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, we cannot wait to gush over this series with you guys. So
yes, we might just keep you.
Yeah, can we keep you?
Just keep both of you.
Sure.
Oh, it was that easy. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. No.
Thanks so much for tuning in. So
that was it.
These two old Fujin belong to us now.
Mission accomplished. But before we dig into the series, we just have a couple of questions we want to ask you up top.
Sure.
First and foremost, for those who are listening who might somehow not know of the Yaoi shelf yet, would you mind describing what the Yaoi shelf is and what it is you cover?
Sure. So, hello, my name is Amanda. As mentioned, I'm from the Yaoi Shelf. We are a monthly podcast dedicated to all things yaoi, BL, shonen, including even some of our favorite Western queer romances. This show is a few years old now and is honestly my pride and joy. I am so blessed to have with me Carola, who is a fantastic published BL author, and I write fanfic on the side and occasionally scream on Twitter about problematic fictional men. And by occasionally, I mean frequently.
Yes. I'm their target audience.
Oh, yeah. The next thing we want to ask, I guess I will direct it to Carola first. What do you love about yaoi and shoujosei content?
Oh, wow.
I know, it's such a loaded question.
Like, what a huge question. When it comes to yaoi or BL, there are so many things that I love about it, and it's been such a staple in my life for so long. I mean, the short answer is, obviously, I like it because I like the pretty boys. I like I like how, in BL, there are so many stories that can be told because, you have so many subgenres, etc. And, it gives me a lot of joy. You have so many flavors and a lot of spice. And I think that, when I do panels and I do intros to BL, I actually quote Sasaki a lot because there's this one scene where he says that, some stories are only possible because they are BL, right? So I think that sums it up really well. And then I'm such a huge nerd for the history of it. So I'm really into it for the academic and the historical purposes as well. But the short answer is I think it's a fun genre. I just really love it.
Yeah. And what about you, Amanda?
I really love this space. Of course, echoing what Carola said much more eloquently than I ever could.
Oh, come on.
But, I mean, same. It's such an innovative and interesting space. It is so transgressive in so many ways. I've talked about on our show that yaoi and BL ended up being very gender affirming for me and helping me figure out, gender and sexuality as many Fujin have over the, many, many years. And I'm in that camp of using especially queer romance as this almost feminist transgressive art form.
Incredible, truly. I love that you were able to discover part of yourself through this content.
Yeah, it was fascinating. It's funny because it just kind of crept up on me one day. It's I feel really, really comfortable in male spaces, writing as men, voice acting as men, dressing as men. That surely can't be connected to anything, can it?
As fellow queers, I'm sure Chika would agree with me, it always just starts as a seed of a thought that it's like, oh, no connection, and then suddenly it blossoms into this whole thing.
I have distinct memories of seeing random clips of Junjo Romantica. Like,
oh wow.
Not to say, it's not like, ooh, I'm so like fond of, but I feel that I found yaoi and BL a little early on within like my journey of, what type of anime do I like? Do I like this? Do I like that? I like shoujo. Okay, but then they're two men? What? This is so interesting. I need more. I need more stories. I need to watch more. You know, they have so many great like story beats, and obviously I started off with like Sailor Moon. I know Giana did as well, and like Sailor Moon also provided me with a queer awakening with Haruka and stuff.
Oh my god. I want her to step on me. I'm fine.
Yes.
I have a perfectly normal relationship to
Yes.
Haruka.
That was your queer awakening
For me,
character.
yeah, Haruka.
Love that.
Yeah.
Mine in hindsight seems so much worse.
Oh, wait, what was it?
Lady Tsunade from Naruto.
Oh, come on. She's great.
I get it.
No judgment.
Yeah, no judgment, but I fell in love with it and never really stopped. But that was about how both you and Carola got into BL. Like, what do you love about shoujo content or josei content?
I think that's a much harder question. It's like, it's kind of like what you said about discovering BL. When I started reading manga and I discovered like the first shoujo series I read, they were just so different from everything that I'd read before, because it exists in this space, right, that is so different from the content that we had in the West. I grew up in Norway and we didn't have a lot of anime. Like, we got Pokemon, and then I got to watch Sailor Moon in Swedish. So I started watching Sailor Moon in Swedish when I was around like 11, 12. And I didn't know at the time that was shoujo. So I really discovered shoujo with these kind of like high school romances and, stories that I still love today. Like, my beloved Karekano, which will forever be my number one.
Oh, I love Karekano. I have the manga.
I have the manga. I have the DVDs, and I collected the DVDs over like the course of my formative years because it took so long for them to come out. And it's still like my favorite show, and I love it so much. And so it was that, and also Mars, and like these stories were they were so deep, and the drawings were so beautiful, and you had like the way that the teenagers felt so real, and if they felt like friends, they felt like I can relate so strongly to a lot of what is happening, and it was so different from everything I'd experienced before, because it was like either like children's content or more like adult content. There was nothing in between. So it really kind of like changed how I read things. And yeah. And then of course josei, which, is more mature, something that I've grown into as I've aged. But like, I get frustrated a lot with a lot of shoujo series because, you have the miscommunications and you have the bad tropes. But like, I love a good like high school romantic comedy, like, let me vicariously live through these teenagers.
Yeah. Oh, same. I live for it.
Well,
I often call myself the romance girl on this podcast. Like, the fluffier, more like yearning and tension and just like the feels, all the bubbles. Like, that's what I live for.
Oh, the
I
bubbles.
live for it.
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Bring me to life.
Well, and we can't deny that so much of yaoi gets a lot of its tropes from shoujo.
Yeah, exactly. Because
yeah.
it started as a subgenre back in the 70s.
Yeah.
See, I listen to Carola when she talks.
Thank you. I appreciate you. But you knew that already. Don't lie.
Shh. I'm trying to look like a good seme. So for me, shoujo was something that I was pretty slow to adopt. I was busy being a misogynist with the shonen boys.
Okay. Like, my favorite color is blue. That's corny.
Happens to the best
I
of
was
us.
busy being an in-log. and watching shonen with all the shonen boys, and I'm not like other girls, and I don't like makeup and girly stuff, and I'm just like one of the guys.
But I was also like that. But the shoujo bubbles, Amanda, they got me.
I hated them. Except for, you mentioned one that I love, which is Mars. That was actually like one of my first.
Oh, yes. Okay. I love Mars. One of my faves.
The moment in volume 1 when Rei kisses that statue, I was gone.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Let me not gush too much or this podcast episode.
Yes. And then I also really love Paradise Kiss.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Nana, why? I'm fine.
So Shoujo, it's come to me a little bit slower. And again, I think, especially now that I'm older and I'm no longer a misogynist, the things that I get frustrated with in Shoujo, because I have to admit that I'm frustrated with them in yaoi, I'm frustrated with those tropes in everything, that it isn't so much as like, oh, well, I hate Shoujo, I'm so different, and I'm an edgelord. It's more of like, okay, this just isn't my favorite genre, or at least like some of these tropes aren't my favorite, but I really, really like, especially as I get older and I like things less complicated, love me some just nice slice of life, folks doing absolutely nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Give me the mundane, like, please.
Like, just some fictional people doing absolutely nothing. My life is complicated enough as it is. I find that when I have, like, rewatchable shows, it's those that tend more towards those, shoujo tropes. Because, like, you can't rewatch Devilman Crybaby regularly.
No. You cannot.
That's not background noise while you're, making costumes or writing scripts.
That is disturbing. No. Do that.
Me just like, no, you don't want to just go home and flick on Mirai Nikki, like, just to wind down? Like...
What? I do that all the time. I don't know.
It's a little intense for me.
It's so relaxing. Honestly.
Yeah, it's so relaxing. Just screams. So, flip on your television, just distant fictional screaming. As I progress in my later years, I do appreciate shoujo more and more. And like, this is especially ironic for Carola and I, because as of recording this episode, we just finished a binge of Nakamura Asumiko's work, and that was a lot. It was nice to just have some cute boys doing nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes.
This show has been like healing for us.
Yeah, this collab came at a really good time.
Oh, good. I'm glad. So we just have one more question for you both. What are your overall feelings on Sasaki and Miyano?
It's very cute. It's not something I think I would initially pick up, because I do tend to like my stories, especially in the BL space, a little bit more dark, dramatic, and problematic. So this is like a huge departure from what I normally... Carola laughing. This is a huge departure from what I normally read and watch. But it's very cute. Like, I definitely... again, I think like this is such an opportune time to watch it, because after J no Subete, I'm totally fine with just some nice boys just hanging out and doing stuff. This is very nice. I can hang with this.
What about you, Carola?
I also agree, it is very, very cute. I've seen a lot of people describe it as the fluffiest, and it's definitely one of the fluffiest out there, at least from the new, like in the newer sense of, like BL series. But with that said, it's not my favorite, which is like, I rewatched it now over the course of the last 2 days to have it more fresh in mind. And there are definitely parts of it that I really enjoy and that I think are good and even important. Like episode 4 is my favorite because of the way that they deal with some subverting tropes and how versatile BL can be. It's just a little, for me, it's a little more on that slice of life, otaku life side of things rather than BL. And I think that just comes from a place of me being so fatigued with series that, especially when they get animated, focus on the lead up to the relationship instead of like having the relationship. And I'm just like, can we just go beyond kind of like the lead up? So like, but that's just a personal opinion. I've been in here.
And we talked about that.
Yeah.
When we were talking about Classmates. That one thing that we both love so much about Classmates is that, you know, the story doesn't climax when the two boys kiss.
Yeah, exactly.
That it does take them through this journey of life.
Yeah. But as far as like Sasamiya goes, I haven't finished the manga. I read a little bit, but I tend to hoard everything and then finish it. Like I read it, I binge read when the manga is completed.
Yeah, me too.
So
Yeah, she does.
I have no idea what is happening in the manga. So this is just like my feelings on the 12 episode anime. But I think that it's such a great introduction to the genre for people who might be new to it.
Agreed.
Since I also like those kind of like otaku type stories, you know, like Genshiken and Fujoshi Kanojo and what Dress Up Darling, you know, I feel like it's kind of in that range, and I really like that. I really like stories about fellow otaku.
And I can understand the slow burn maybe not being for everybody. Just like having that.
I like slow burn. I think for me, and this was something that I always had with yeah. I think, and this was always something that I also had with Shoujo as well, is that like sometimes the stakes just felt too low. And again, like I've mentioned, like as I get older, I have an easier time dealing with that. But especially like formative in my, you know, anime and manga career, those like the biggest villain is, you know, the school president. It's like, nah, we need to be saving the world 24/7.
I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of terrible, terrible school presidents in shoujo.
Yeah.
There are.
I'm just like,
I was only ever a club president. I wasn't a full school president.
yeah, you didn't have enough power, thank God. No, but I think, but I mean, it's cute. I like, there's a lot of it that I do like, and
it is very cute. It almost gives me cute aggression.
Like, it's so cute, you just need to bite one of them.
Yeah, it's like, I just need to give you a squeeze.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let us dive into episode 7. I don't want to pressure him. Here is our soft serve summary brought to us by Wikipedia. No editing, raw reading. Let's do it. Okay. The high school prepares for its upcoming cultural festival. Miyano's class nominates him as their representative in the cross-dressing competition, and he reluctantly agrees on the condition that his outfit isn't too feminine, with Kurosawa standing in as his backup. While at a shopping center with Sasaki, Miyano bumps into Makimura, the girl he had a crush on in middle school, and they strike up a friendly conversation, but Sasaki pulls him away out of jealousy. Miyano admits to him that she was his former crush, but says his feelings for her have long since faded. Sasaki in turn apologizes for the way he pulled him away, saying he doesn't want to be rough with someone he likes. While working, Sasaki frets over the idea of Miyano having a crush on someone else. He also encounters Kurosawa, who explains that he's in the area to visit his girlfriend who is in the hospital. He also formally thanks Sasaki for defending him months ago and admits that he was the person who instigated the fight that day. On the ride to school later that day, Sasaki and Miyano bond as they share headphones. And that is our soft serve summary for episode 7. So, getting into episode themes, let's start with Carola. Did you have a theme for this episode?
I think the theme or themes that I picked up on was gender and the perception of gender. For the gendering in particular, he's been struggling with his quote-unquote femininity since childhood, constantly being told that he's cute, he's pretty, he's so girlish, and this has been bothering him, not least in relationships. And so the cross-dressing competition at school brings this back up, and then he's surprised that he finds himself calmer about this than expected, much due to his conversation earlier with Sasaki, where he says that he'll like him even if he grows taller, even if his face changes. And I think that can be juxtaposed with the run-in with Makimura, where she blatantly states that, oh, you have become manlier, like his shoulders are wider, his jaw is sharper, his hands are bigger. So he realizes that, yeah, he might be a boy and he might be like cutesy and smaller in comparison to the larger boys at school, but that is less obvious in the company of girls. And so he realizes that he is masculine after all. I think maybe one of the reasons that he's so soothed by Sasaki is that he's reassured that it's not just about his face, that he is being liked for who he is. And so when it comes to the growth, it's not only about the literal physical growth that he has done, but that he comes to terms with his own perceptions of his gender and the expectations that comes with that gender and with how he is perceived based on his looks and in his thoughts about Sasaki. And that, he also realizes that he's outgrown this middle school crush.
Yeah, those are both excellent interpretations of the episode.
Yeah, Carola's great at this.
Thank you.
Amanda, what do you have for a theme?
I think the big thing that I picked up on, very, very similar to Carola, I focus a little more on gender roles because what's fascinating to me is something that, something we talk about a lot is how much, especially yaoi, really pulls on those shoujo tropes and how much of this seemed to very, very lightly buck against that usual, very, very reductive conversations that we'd be having about, seme and uke, top-bottom discourse. This is actually, pretty progressive in that sense. It was fascinating to kind of watch it, butt up against some of that stuff because, if this series came out decades ago, the conversations would not be as gentle, kind, or politically correct as they were. And then the biggest thing that I mostly felt was just the unbearable weight of pining.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just cat looking out of the window at a bird. Just unbearable pining.
Oh, yeah. That's all up and down this series, and I love it so much. Chika, what do you have for a theme?
The theme that I have, it's more so a little tidbit of ice cream, you scream, I guess.
Ooh, okay.
In the sense that I said that, being possessive over someone you aren't in a relationship with is not the move.
Okay, highly agree. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that in Ice Cream, You Scream.
So, and I know that's not an overall, this is talking about all aspects. It's very much so towards the end. But that's... it was clear in my mind. I was just that's just what I feel right now. So
yeah, for sure. My theme, I feel I have not been on the ball with themes in a hot minute on this podcast, and that's not going to change today. I'm so sorry, but my theme, I put discovery. I feel like there was a lot of discovery in this episode and it's funny because the next episode is I Realize, which is also discovery related, but, I feel like there was a lot of discovery in this episode, Miyano realizing that he does not have feelings for Makimura after all, realizing that he's becoming more masculine and growing. There's also some discovery on Sasaki's part and Miyano as well, truly, in that scene when they're talking about discussing shared interests and learning that they can share other things with each other, like music and stuff like that. The ever gradual discovery of Miyano's true feelings for Sasaki as well are definitely ramped up this episode. So that was my theme. Moving into sprinkles on top, I'll just ask up top, does anybody have sprinkles on top? I do have one, but it's super unserious.
I don't have any.
I did make a note on the Joker when they're playing Old Maid, Babanuki. But I'm not entirely sure what it is symbolizing, but I kind of got the idea that it's kind of Miyano is always, quote unquote, doomed to be stuck with the Joker, and in this case I think slash the girly role that he's oh, I have to enter the competition, here we go again, kind of that was it was a brief thought I had. I'm not sure if it means anything, but that was a thought I did have.
I like it. I really like it. My sprinkles on top is it's really more specifically for the Shoujo Sundae listeners and also Chika, because I know at least Chika, you'll get the reference if anybody listening will. I find it really interesting, and I found it interesting up top, but I was there's probably no way I'm going to be able to ever make this connection, but this episode, I can. So Sasaki works for Sasaki Bakery, and I find it really interesting that I wrote a fanfic in 2014 called Kyoya, Otori, and the Crystal Ball. And his love interest's name is Mika Sasaki, and her family works, they made Sasaki Gourmet, which is a gourmet restaurant, and they make homemade ice cream and all these really fancy goodies. So I just thought it was a really, really super funny coincidence that we have a Sasaki who is working at a bakery and their family, owns a bakery. So I just had to include it.
When you put it like that, I'm going to add another sprinkle because I actually also have a Sasaki in one of my novels, and he is studying to be a patissier because all the BL boys are doing that. But I just realized I have one of those.
There are 5 jobs that you can have the moment that you enter a BL. You're either going to become a writer who inexplicably can make money while you're alive.
Vague businessman.
You're going to become a pizzier.
Incredible.
You're going to be vague businessman. We don't know what you do.
Vague businessman.
Yeah.
Yakuza is an option.
You just work really, and sometimes, and you gotta stay late at that office.
You live
That's
in
my
that
favorite.
office.
Yeah.
Yakuza is an option.
Yes. Yes, you are
And
correct.
then vague manservant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the only occupations you can have.
Yes. I think it's good for to have baking involved because they got their bacon buns. Maybe they'll glaze some. Who knows?
So I used to work in a cake shop, and like because I did that, I am so violently against like food as sex metaphor.
Oh.
Yes.
I'll wind it back. I didn't say it at all.
And yet me and my antique bakery.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. You and your antique bakery.
Because I don't want to sleep with Jean-Baptiste Madeleines. I want to sleep with Jean-Baptiste.
Yeah.
I'd
rather sleep with the Madeleines in my case, I think.
I'll take the horrible Frenchman. I don't want to sleep with the Mont Blanc, Carola.
Oh my god. You can have him.
Yes.
Please take him.
I love that we have a Fumi Yoshinaga reference after doing Oku as our last series.
Oh, Oku. It sure is there.
Oh, well, I cannot get started on Oku.
Yeah, Oku sure is there.
It sure
happened.
Have to delve into that one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, let's head on into Floats Your Boat. So, I'll toss it to Chika first. What's one of your floats your boat?
I love how nonchalant Kurosawa is about cross-dressing.
Right? It's incredible.
Yes. Like, he is so sure of himself, and it's nice because, like, you just want that to rub off on Miyano. It's cool. It's fine.
Yeah, his, like, chill confidence. Amanda, what is one of your floats your boat?
I think as almost like a reintroduction into this kind of genre, what I did like, again, was it just, like, very less of an individual thing, but like low stakes. There's just no one's
just
no
in
one's
general
gonna die.
Yeah, no, there is such a I think I said this on our last episode with Pearl that like this is kind of becoming a comfort show for me.
See that.
It is doing a lot for me. I just really love the energy of this show, and with the low stakes for sure, it's just nice to unwind too.
It's like I can turn my brain off.
Yes.
And just be like, oh, the vibes.
Because like some of my favorite episodes of Shonen are like those dumb slice of life filler episodes.
Yes. The breathers in between the trauma.
So it's less of an individual thing, but yeah, just like it's like wow, especially after reading Jay no Subete, this is a really nice chill experience where everyone is fine. And nothing as bad is going to happen.
Yeah. Carola, what is one of your floats your boat?
This is also kind of like a rocky road because I was feeling this in the depths of my heart. But the moment when Miyano is comparing their hand sizes and he almost grabs Sasaki's hand, I was like, I felt that. Yeah. That made my heart flutter a little. And it was just like, oh, do it. I know he wasn't going to do it because I watched this before, but you know, a girl can dream.
Right. Yeah, his yearning, like the way, oh my god, his feelings jump out of the screen at you, for sure.
Yeah, I felt that. I was like, ugh.
So the first thing that I have is when Miyano starts to worry about his appearance, he kind of reflexively thinks back to Sasaki telling him that he would like him no matter how his appearance changed, you know, as he grew older or what have you. And I feel like I have a few different floats your boat of like Miyano being unable to help himself thinking about Sasaki. I love when the breadcrumbs start breadcrumbing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Chika, do you have more floats your boat to share?
Yes. Something that I had liked, which is very basic, but when they were playing Old Maid,
Yeah.
I thought it was nice because usually in these school settings, it's just, oh, committees, work, paperwork, this and that. And I'm just like, your days to be this young are slowly passing you by. But then
Right.
they're playing.
Us at 30, like, oh man.
I want to be them. Yeah.
Right, like revel in the outside, like, you know, but them being able to play a card game, I was like, this is nice. Okay.
I suddenly feel like my high school experience was either very, very strange or very, very awesome simultaneously.
How so?
Well, there was one anime club episode where I ended up tied to a chair.
Oh.
Oh. Interesting.
That's the kind of club I was running.
Oh boy. Do you want to take it away with a floats your boat after sharing that with us?
I don't really have any other specific ones. It was just like, for me, it was just sort of like easing my toes back into this because, again, the kind of media that I typically ingest is heavy and problematic. Trademark.
Yeah.
I've in my spare time, I've been rewatching Has Been Hotel. So like this is such a radical departure. So it's been nice to have like a couple episodes like to reacclimate. It's like jumping between different pools.
Okay. Carola, do you have more floats your boat to share?
I do, and this one is it's just a small detail and so self-indulgent, but can we talk about Sasaki with that scarf on his head when he takes out the garbage? I'm like, he's so pretty in that scene. And I just like,
he
yes,
is.
I am here. There is absolutely nothing of substance happening right now, but he's so beautiful. Let me just take it in. Like,
yes, like so beautiful, but then so concerned. Like Miyano likes girls. Like, what do I do?
How do I feel?
But meanwhile, he
about
was like
this?
hot, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm just like, you can have your internal crisis. I'm just gonna sit here and admire you right now. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The entire Fujin experience. You there. Have your internal crisis. I'll just be in these bushes watching.
You go through your stuff. I'm gonna objectify you. Like, I'm sorry.
No, that's why they were beautiful in the first place. They did that on purpose. We are not apologizing. Like, we're responding. It's okay.
Yes, it's their fault for.
We
How
are
dare
not
you be so
blaming these
visual
poor
then.
boys.
No.
I can't. I'm blaming the creator.
There we go.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
No, these two innocent boys don't deserve it. They're doing their best. I appreciate them. Just like little sculptures. Just do what they gotta do.
The next thing that I have, which is kind of, I guess, a way that I interpreted the scene. I don't know if it was like meant to be this way, but after they're playing Old Maid, Hirano leaves Sasaki and Miyano alone together. And I believe that was like on purpose in like a wingman kind of way, because he knows of like Sasaki's feelings. So I just liked that he was like, I'm going to remove myself. I'm going to leave those two be.
Yeah.
It's very fairy godfather of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's, another thing that because you mentioned earlier the Kurosawa and also Taisho being so supportive about the cross-dressing and being willing to be substitutes. But I also think like the friends in this show, they're so supportive. They're just like, I got you, man. Like, I'll set you up to be alone with him in this room. I'll fix this for you. Like, they're just really good friends.
Yeah. Like a really great basis for community. Yeah. I think that's something that everybody would like to have, is just that sense of, oh, okay, I have a community, or like the people who birth, I'm not one of them, but the people who birth, that's it. It takes a village to raise a child. Like, it's like you're kind of creating your own village and your own little unit of people that are like rooting for you.
Well, and that's what queer people do.
Yeah.
Like, so much of being a queer person is you building up your own village, you building up your tribe, and if you're blessed to have a family that accepts you. I grew up in Texas, so that experience is not universal. So I mentioned gender and sexuality stuff I went through in high school. How much I needed people around me that could be that, wingman, wingwoman. Be like, hey, I hear you like girls as well. May I offer you my friend,
Yeah.
being really, really supportive. Like, we needed that. I mean, we still, queer communities still, you need your found family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chika, do you have more floats your boat?
Yeah, I feel like mine are slightly reactionary.
Same.
One of them is I thought that it was funny that Miyano is still sort of imagining him and Sasaki in the BL plots that he reads now that he knows about Sasaki's feelings. Because it's so cute, but then it's just like, Miyano, realize it.
Yeah, actually, that's my one and only banana split, actually. And it's not that heavy of a banana split, because it's like, he's so close to realizing it, just realize it.
Yeah, it's like right there, like even in it's in what you read, it's in the conversations that you have with other people, like it's not...
It's in all of his reactions, like all of his reflexes and his reactions point to him having genuine feelings in return for Sasaki.
Yeah.
He's just not allowing himself to process it.
And then the other one, Sasaki wanting to show his sister BL as well.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really sweet because, I don't know, I guess some people could take it for granted having like siblings that are also sort of interested or possibly open to what you are into and stuff. And so at least for me, coming from basically the outside of that, I was happy that Sasaki was open to showing his sister BL and possibly starting that conversation. But then outside of it, I was like a little jelly too, because it's just like, oh, I wish I could show my siblings, like, yeah, look at my collection. This is so cool. You don't know how expensive all of this is.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I'm an only child.
Oh.
It's the best thing that
I
ever
love that
happened
for
to
you.
me.
Oh, great.
No.
Then I love it for you.
That's the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm an only child.
Slightly envious.
So I always find that fascinating. Yeah, the idea of like sharing your hobbies. I do have 2 aunts that raised me, and they were at this like very, very funny stage where they like asking me questions about what I'm into, but then are not prepared for the answer.
No, I have a sister she's such a normie that like she doesn't have any hobby, like nothing. So I don't understand. She doesn't like watching movies.
That's so sad.
She only watches the same movies over and over. Like she goes to the gym, and that's kind of her hobby. So she doesn't get me. She doesn't understand. Truly does not care.
The lore of BL. The greatness of it.
She has no idea what she's missing. Like, her life is so
denying
sad to me.
oneself the magic. Carola, do you have any more floats your boat to share?
I do have one. When they're on the bridge, and they have the conversation about the manga that they've both been reading, and it's just, that feeling of, Miyano hasn't really had anyone to talk to about these things and like to share these like experiences reading, and just the excitement of finding someone who is into the same stuff as you are and like who is willing to discuss these plots and the characters and just get into it with you. I really love that for him. I think that that's such a fun experience when you find someone that you really want to talk to about these things. So I really like that scene.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just when he gets so excited and he starts like glowing.
Yeah.
It's just so excited to like so cute to see.
Ugh.
I have a couple more floats your boat. They're mostly reactionary, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. One of them, I like kind of gasped when Miyano and Sasaki were walking and talking about manga together, that the shoujo bubbles came out. We had a shoujo bubbles moment that made me really happy because like that's like Miyano reacting to Sasaki. So like I said, the breadcrumbing just really, that just gives me all the jitters, I love it so much. We had another thought from Miyano about Sasaki's words, about his appearance, putting him at ease, about his feminine features. And, it's like obvious that there are weight to his words. Like he cares about what Sasaki thinks. And that comes even more into play, like in later episodes and stuff. We had a full face blush from Miyano at one point, saying that if Sasaki were to like say things about, the person he likes or whatever around him, it'll make him blush. And I almost feel like in a way that this communicates that Miyano may actually have growing feelings for him. It was like very bold of him to say that, in my opinion. So I just liked that step forward. That was very nice. Just all the tension in that moment. I live for tension. We all know this. Also, I don't want to like take over too much. Chika, do you have more floats your boat to go into? I don't want to run away.
No, Kurosawa visiting his girlfriend in the hospital.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love his love for his girlfriend.
So
Yeah.
pure. It's him and Ogasawara.
Yeah, well, I'm a little, I don't know how I feel.
I feel like I'm an auntie for that one, but
I'm not so much for Ogasawara's relationship, but definitely Kurosawa.
They're definitely different, but I like their dynamics. You know, they're both very preoccupied with their girlfriends, albeit in very different ways.
Different.
Definitely.
I mean, accurate for the age, though. Like, of course, super obsessive about relationships.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Can relate.
I think the last one I have is just that they were sharing music with one another.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I have that as well. That was very sweet. And it's like they kind of discover that there's more that they can share with each other and enjoy with each other.
Yeah.
That was a really, really cute moment.
Yeah, and I also think that it's pivotal in the sense that in an earlier episode, Miyano thinks about how they only talk about his stuff because Sasaki is always kind of like adjusting to his pace and his hobbies. So it's nice to see him discovering things about Sasaki as well.
Yeah, definitely. My very last floats your boat is that Miyano is so happy to hear that Sasaki bought the next volume of a story that he had introduced him to. And Sasaki is like so flustered by how happy Miyano was that he has to immediately retreat. He's like, I almost hugged him, which is so pure. Like, oh my God. So cute. So cute. But with that, let's head on into Banana Split. So things that we are split on. It could possibly be half good, half bad, or we have questions about it. We already went over my one banana split already, so I'm going to pass it off to Amanda. Do you have any banana split points?
I think the big thing for me is that, you know, again, like especially not necessarily like this being my big forte and also being as old as the hills. Adjusting back to that like high school mentality where it feels very obvious that like just talk, just say that you like, just say it.
Oh, right.
Sit down, have a conversation. But like I can say that because like I'm a middle-aged person.
Yeah.
I'm old. So it's easy to say that. So, you know, readjusting to having to like put myself back into like, okay, when you were that age, could you do that? And it's like, absolutely not. I would have written a poem and posted it on Zenga.
Stop reading me like that.
Zenga.
Like, I would have written an abstract poem, posted it on Zenga, and then changed my AOL status.
Oh my gosh. Or like you're like, the little quote next to your MySpace profile.
Yeah.
Or your MSN, just like...
Your mood.
Yeah, your MSN.
Your mood on MySpace.
So, like, it's easy for me to say, you know, as a middle-aged boomer, like, why don't you just sit down and tell them you like them? But, you know, like, when you were younger, you would not have done that.
But I will say, though, I think that they are better at communicating their feelings and thoughts than a lot of other shoujo and BL characters.
True.
Yeah.
That's
I think
true.
they're doing well.
They're doing great.
In comparison.
Yeah.
They're doing their best, goddammit.
I love that we're talking about them like they're our children.
But this is how I feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only way I give birth is to manga characters. Yes.
The big
My
sister
child.
gene is coming out. Like, I just want to protect them and guide them. Like,
Ooh, yeah.
See, that's so funny because the last character that I said was my son was Toy from Sarazanmai. And before that was literally Satan from Devilman Crybaby.
Toy is a precious child, though.
But yeah.
Satan?
It's not really confusing. It's just like, you know, like I mentioned earlier, it's like when you go from like a sauna to a cold pool, you have to adjust and reacclimate. So it's been interesting to like use this as my reacclimation because the material that I usually ingest is Check's notes, not this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carola, do you have any banana split points?
I do have one, and it's more like, it's just like a light confusion. After the scene when Sasaki says that he bought the new volume, and then right at the end, Miyano is like glowing and he says, "Thank you." And I'm like, what is he thanking him for? What is the meaning of that thank you? Is it for appreciating the story? For amusing his interest? Is it a callback to the bridge scene? Am I just stupid? You know?
No, that is
What
a good question.
Thank you.
That is a good
It
question.
could be all of them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I interpreted it as like, thank you for enjoying this as much as I do, even though that's like an awkward thing to say.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just like so excited that that was the only thing he could muster up.
But that is a super intimate thing, you know, like, you know, especially us coming from, you know, the yaoi world where it's much, much more explicit. You know, there is a lot of intimacy in these little gestures. You know, I watching things because my partner is super excited about it. That is intimacy. Sharing music is intimacy. All of those things are intimacy. It might not involve getting bent over a couch, but it is intimacy.
Yeah. No, that's true. And I think that maybe it's just me being, because, you know, when I watched this, and this was like my second or third time watching this episode, being like preoccupied with the fact that I'm just like, did he just buy that volume? Is he just gonna have the series from that volume onwards? He has to buy the whole series. Like, that is what I'm thinking, right?
I was thinking about that too. I'm like,
I'm on the completionist
you're just gonna buy one?
Same.
Like, dude, what about the rest?
Yeah.
What about your shelves?
We are not more worried about fictional characters' shelves than we are our own.
I have no more space for shelves or space in my shelves, so I will worry about other people to quench my own problems.
Chika, do you have any banana split?
Yeah, so it's I have two. So one is that and I think this kind of reminded me of like Pearl's remarks where we talked about the previous episode, but like Miyano really does think of everything in relation to BL, and it's like cultural festivals are a normal part of your culture, at least in anime. So it's just like, I mean, maybe he was thinking about it more so in relation to cross-dressing, but still I was just like, okay.
But when you're a kid, like especially a nerdy kid, you do think of everything like you are the main character. Like, I mean, I spent a lot of high school convinced that everything I was doing was just a bad episode of Naruto.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. I think for me, I was just more so like, okay, you know, cool. Like, because I didn't know where else to put that thought. And then the other one I have is really just the Makimura scene. And then like Miyano, but then also Sasaki. So I was banana split because he realizes that he had a complex over looking like a girl from a misunderstanding. Like, yeah, she didn't think, oh, you look like a girl. She just wanted him to dress up in girls' clothes because she specifically wanted to paint him that way, you know, or like he was more androgynous, I guess, back then. And so it's like him having this whole complex about his face and then hearing that from her. And then it's just like, I'm chill now, or at least in the other episodes, I'm chill now. Like, okay. And
it is kind of a big leap. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like he had talked about how much he had liked this girl, or in other episodes had referenced like, I liked a girl in middle school. I liked a girl in middle school. And while he doesn't have feelings for her anymore in this episode, it's just like, well, what was it that you liked about her specifically?
Right.
Like,
I was wondering that too.
Like, what made your heart flutter and stuff that now we know that it doesn't flutter anymore, but what was it about her?
Yeah. Like, her arrival and, like, what that accomplished did not go the way I expected it to, which doesn't make it necessarily a bad thing. It was just, like, my prediction, which is, I put this in nuts, but I guess I'll talk about it when we get to nuts then, actually. So, scratch that for now. We will put a pin in it and revisit. But if that's it for Banana Split, does anybody have Rocky Road? I do not, personally.
Kurosawa's girlfriend is in the hospital.
Yes.
Why? But I felt sad for her. But I was
That is sad. Oh, I feel like a dick now.
I also, like, everyone's worried about it. Like, oh, it's fine. She's in the best place possible.
I have seen enough characters
Oh.
who are in the hospital and is like, oh, I'm fine, and then they die.
Yeah.
You know, your
Yeah.
lie in April comes to mind.
And like that's
Oh, my fucking heart.
yes.
Oh, don't
Destroyed
remind me. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
she's
no.
his whole world. So I'm just like, why is she in the hospital?
Oh my god.
Oh god, I hope she's
Yeah.
okay.
Same.
I feel so soulless.
Oh my god. I feel.
Yeah, she's fine.
Well, she'd better be. I can't handle this. I'm attached to this girl.
Right. Is there any more Rocky Road?
I have one. I mean, it's just, I mean, I guess it's emotional in the sense that it's one of those, it's kind of like how the characters are projecting their emotions and how you see it happening on screen. This goes for, like, not only this episode, but, like, a lot of the show, because we talked about the tension and the pining. And I just think that, you know, because it's floating along and, like, days are passing, weeks are passing, seasons are passing, and we're so painfully aware of this unsolved and unanswered question that is hanging in the air. Like, everything appears normal, they're taking the train, they're talking about homework, they're talking about tests, and then there's this confession that is just hanging there that they're both so aware of and, like, kind of trying to ignore. And it's, like, the most teenager thing ever. And it's, like, it feels so... It's so realistic, like, emotionally.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't quite imagine being in Sasaki's shoes for something like that, because it's so clear how heavy this is weighing on him and how often he thinks about it. I'm kind of amazed that he's still dead set on Miyano, you know, after all of that time.
Yeah.
But moving out of Rocky Road, let's go into nuts. So I just have two. I'll just knock them out really quick. The way I, like, paused on the opening frame of this episode when it was just with the subtitle, "The cultural festival will have a cross-dressing competition." I'm like, you know, that is super new. Haven't seen that in an anime
Really?
before.
Really?
This is super interesting. I did not expect it. So that's just why it's in nuts.
That's fascinating, because that's an ancient trope.
Yeah, that is such a trope.
Like, it's a very soft hot fudge for me, but, like, it's such a tired trope.
You think?
Well, because especially in, like, BL, because of its shoujo roots especially, they have to enforce a lot of, like, heteronormativity to really re-emphasize that this is a queer story. So there's always the part where they either introduce a sudden female interest, or there's a random cross-dressing episode. There's always a random cross-dressing episode. Gravitation has it.
The cultural festivals are always like, it's the cross-dressing cafe, it's the gender-swapped play, but I like it. I mean, it depends how it's done, but I do like it. But what I do think is interesting that I noticed in one of these episodes is that the subtitles say cross-dressing competition, but the Japanese text in the background, like on the blackboard, says miscon. So it's like a miss contest. So it's like the miss of the school. So it's not, they actually don't use the word joso, which means cross-dressing. Okay. So, but I mean, that's what they're doing. But it's just interesting how it varies linguistically.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Also, I guess I'll get into my other point. I wrote this in all caps. Every single word is in caps. So I put his middle school crush, 3 question marks. Please tell me she is here to steer him towards Sasaki at a faster rate to prove he doesn't like her at all and would rather spend time with Sasaki. That is how I expected this episode to go. I thought it was going to be this whole thing where, like, he ends up, like, spending time with her and, like, thinking about Sasaki the whole time and kind of realizing he would rather be with him instead. But that's not what happened. I think I would have rather that than the way it went, but, you know, it's something.
I mean, in a way, and we'll get to that, like you said, she did steer him towards him, just not in that way that you expected.
No, not quite.
I don't know. I think that I sort of deluded myself into thinking that she was coming to the cultural festival, but apparently, I mean, that must have been a different series. I must have just gotten it confused.
Oh. Carola has conflated 5 series into one.
Yeah, apparently. Like, again, school festivals. There's a lot of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the beach episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At least, like, one per show.
I love beach episodes.
They're so good. They're so good.
Beach episodes always upset me.
Oh, no.
Well, okay, I say upset only because, like, the beach that I have isn't nice. I live near the Gulf of Mexico. It's like, we don't have nice beaches. Whenever they're on these pristine fictional beaches, like, dang it.
I bet you that your beach is nicer than my Norwegian pretend beach. Okay.
We'll have to swap. We'll see.
Yeah.
Beach swap for a day. Amanda, do you have any nuts points?
No, nothing was really shocking. Again, like, I think because, like, even the point that you mentioned about, like, oh, you know, the middle school girlfriend appears. That's another very, very long-standing trope in BL, was, like, sudden appearance of a woman to interrupt the game.
But this wasn't one of those. I felt. I feel like this
far from
went really well comparatively.
Yeah, but that's another, you know, trope as old as time in the BL genre. It's like mysterious appearance of woman. So no, nothing particularly that was shocking. But also, again, I'm old and very, very jaded. I struggle to think of the last few things that have genuinely shocked me.
No, it's all good. Carola, do you have any nuts points?
No. Like Amanda said, you know, this is such a low stakes series. It's so, you know, it's so chill compared to a lot of other things. So
yeah,
nothing shocking for me, but yeah.
Okay. Chika, do you have any nuts points?
No, I have ice cream, you scream.
I also have that one.
Ooh.
Okay. I don't have any hot fudge, but Amanda, do you have hot fudge?
No, it was really just that insert woman to create drama. But that's a trope issue. Like, that's not on Sasamiya. Like, that's not any one character's fault.
Right.
That's just, again, I am old and I've been around the block multiple times and it's like, ah.
Yeah. Carola, do you have any hot fudge?
Nope.
Okay, so then let's move into Ice Cream, You Scream, where I'm assuming we all have the same thing. I'll let Chika take it away, though.
Yeah, so Sasaki pulling Miyano away from Makimura.
Yes.
Yep.
That was my ice cream, you scream. I didn't make it hot fudge because, I mean, the middle school girl crush thing, it wasn't really doing that much for me anyway. So it's like, I wasn't like, I'm so mad. It was just more so like, why are you pulling him? I feel like there's just a different way that he could have interrupted the situation, but it was just like that possessiveness that I talked about earlier, where it's like, okay, I can understand from a point because of the fact that Miyano has not given him an answer and it's been months, but like, you can't be possessive over somebody that has not claimed you. And so and I feel like, especially after seeing this episode and like the remaining ones that we have, where like 8 or 9, like Sasaki seems a bit touchy when it comes to Miyano being around or interacting with women. And so to me, it was just like, okay, like I get that he is all fired up about his feelings and he wants more from the situation, but that doesn't give him the right to then pull Miyano away from this conversation and just to intrude like that. And I know that there's this one part, this could have been Banana Split, but it wasn't, where he just says, oh, I don't want to be rough with someone I like. It's like, I like the sentiment, but it seems like anytime he's possessive, he ends up doing something, like, rather than talking himself out of it. So, yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's a little too, like, grunt, I'm a Seiyame, I can't control my trust or jealousy trope that we see in so much of the older BL in particular.
Yeah.
I guess that's why it didn't faze me.
No, because, you know, compared to what we've seen, he didn't.
Because, like,
he didn't chain him up.
Like, this is a normal, well-adjusted response in comparison to the BL Carola and I grew up with. Which, I mean, I think is valid. I think that's such a fascinating way to look at it. Like, because, yeah, like, there is nothing about that flagged for me. I think that's so interesting that it's like, oh, yeah, like, in real life, that's a big old red flag, and I would not accept that. But my bar for fiction is so on the ground.
I mean, true, though.
Yeah.
The bar's buried somewhere.
And like, I mean, I've seen this particular thing of the love interest pulling at the arm of whoever they're in love with and like kind of throwing them up against the wall to just be like, what's going on? What is this?
Yeah.
Like, I know that it's a trope that's been around and I've never liked it. So
Yeah.
like,
And I mean,
for me, I'm just like,
and in hindsight, like I can't say that I like it. I'm just used to it. Like I don't like it either. I mean, mark on the board how many times I've talked about that with private tutor, that I didn't like it anytime Rentaro was pushed up against a wall by Kaede. So yeah, like that's so interesting to me, because like, yeah, I can't say that I particularly enjoy it or like it. It just flows over me because we've seen some.
And I think, Sasaki is always he's also so self-aware. He is aware that he's doing it and that he shouldn't be doing it. Unlike a lot of these other characters who are just, well, you're my property, essentially.
True.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Carola, do you have any Ice Cream You Scream?
Yeah, I did have that one. I also have another. It's like, it's more of a frustration, but like Miyano wavering in his BL, not a BL approach to their relationship, because he's always like stating how BL is just BL and it's a fantasy and it's like these goggles that you put on. But then he is, like we talked about earlier, he's consulting his BL books to try to figure out his own situation. And, that you can see that as, hey, BL can be representative and you can find things to relate to in it. But again, we've read a lot of terrible and unrealistic BL, so it's not necessarily a guide you want to follow, nor is shoujo for that matter. And it's like, but Miyano, you and Sasaki aren't a BL. You are real people, not trope. And I think that this for me generally goes for Miyano's outlook on like normies versus otaku versus BL as a whole. Like he's separating it so much from the real world in all other situations. Like he's always like, oh, don't talk about it on the train. What, you have that book in your home? You watched that? You talked about it with your sister? Like he's so up in arms about how you can't mix like normie life with Fujin life, but then that is exactly what he's doing, and that kind of frustrates me a little.
Yeah.
No, I understand that. It frustrates me as well. I think I have a similar point in the next episode.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just, I feel like he's just using any excuse to just be like, this is not real. I don't know what's going on. Therefore, I can't answer Sasaki. And it's just like, you can answer him.
Yeah.
Like, just because certain situations in BL are like exaggerated, and it's not like, okay, it doesn't have to entirely lead to like hardcore smut or whatever, but like you can still glean some lessons off of it.
I think for me, it's also partially just, having been around for so long and having, seen so much, like, because obviously there's also a cultural gap here. Like, I remember when I was a lot younger and watching Genshiken for the first time, and when Ogiue is introduced, like, she's such a self-loathing fujoshi, and like that trope has been pushed so much that, you love this thing so much, but then society tells you that it's wrong, and so you kind of adopt the idea that, oh, you can't talk about it, like, you're worthless because you like this thing, and that is such a Japanese mindset, for instance, because of how the culture works and how you're not supposed to stick out or make your issues other people's problems. So obviously watching it from a Western perspective, and especially with how obnoxious we as fangirls used to be in the early 2000s, like, it's kind of stuck with me. Like, I easily get annoyed because I think that you should appreciate the things that you love and just like be happy to enjoy them, and like fuck what other people kind of, although I bet it's different in certain cultures and in certain contexts.
Yeah, because like I found that pretty approachable to like, yeah, there's real IRL you, there's Fujoshi me, and then there's like comics me, like having like, especially in high school, because, again, raised Catholic and Southern, I wasn't exactly being my full nerd self-actualized self in every scenario. And I think part of why we were, especially in the West, so obnoxious as fans is because we were repressed everywhere else.
True.
I grew up in an immigrant household, so when I was growing up, I randomly would be kissing girls, and then I'd just be like, if you tell, I'm going to call you a liar. So...
I kept my girl kissing to the hallways in school. I was a beard on several occasions. Like, oh yes, this is my totally normal human girlfriend. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So,
are there any more Ice Cream You Scream points, or are we good to move into episode 8?
Episode 8.
All right, so here is our soft serve summary for episode 8, I Realized, brought to us by Wikipedia. At school, Sasaki continues to flirt with Miyano and tease him about his own crush on him. Chairman Hanzawa helps Miyano prepare for his role in the upcoming competition by having him fitted for a traditional outfit. During the fitting, Miyano asks him what he thinks it means to have feelings for someone, and Hanzawa postulates that the biggest indicator of love is to be constantly thinking of someone. Sasaki visits Miyano while he is dressed in his costume and questions whether he actually wants to participate in the competition, but Miyano is reluctant to drop out after the hard work everyone else put in. Sasaki becomes overwhelmed by emotion and comes close to kissing Miyano, but hugs him instead. Miyano becomes aware of his own feelings for Sasaki. And that is our soft serve summary for episode 8. So getting into themes, Amanda, do you have a theme for this episode?
I think the big thing that was a theme that stuck out to me was discovery, but to completion.
Yeah.
Is that we did spend all this time sort of pining, sorting, and figuring out, but now we have a clearer path. Sort of like when you're spelunking and you can finally see light start to trickle in. I say that like I've been spelunking. I'm claustrophobic. Like I'm regularly cave diving.
No, but that's a great comparison.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Not that I have experienced spelunking either.
I'd rather die.
Right, same, honestly. Carola, do you have a theme for this episode?
I have what is love? ? And the different forms of love and affection, different forms they can take and be expressed or accepted. So, for instance, Sasaki is using his touch and also his words. Kurosawa doing whatever he can to make his girlfriend smile, for instance. Yeah, there's a whole montage about it that I have in my likes. But yeah, I think it's a lot about expressions of love.
Yeah, and honestly, that's basically what I have too. I just put what it means to love someone and how that manifests. Chika, do you have a theme?
I feel like this is a theme I've had before, but it's like love can be slow and fast at the same time. So slow in that it took him so long to like finally come to terms with his feelings. But then once he acknowledged it, it was just like, it's like he snapped out of it.
Oh, it's like that John Green quote. I fell in love with you the way I fell asleep, slowly and then all at once.
Yes. Very beautiful.
I love that quote.
Yes. Very nice. It's very, that's exactly what it is.
Getting into sprinkles on top. Amanda, do you have any sprinkles?
No, not particularly. I mean, honestly, I think the big symbolism was I think the one thing that I do want to piggyback off on is sort of what Carola said is there are so many different types of love and ways to show love. I like that that's being explored because I feel like especially, older BL was very, very narrow in its idea of what love looked like. So I'm fascinated by this, more almost like humanist, modernist approach. I just think it's neat.
Yeah. Carola, do you have any sprinkles?
I have 2.
Okay.
So the first one is like, it's not a big one. It's not deep in any way, but I just thought it was like a neat imagery when Ogasawara passes the phone to Miyano and like the phone is like spiraling into the depths as they get into their Fujin conversation, because that is very relatable. Like that is exactly how it is when you're talking to someone about something that you both really care about or are really into.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like a fun little tidbit. But then there's also the visual of the budding flowers that are gradually opening
I have that too.
As Sasaki is embracing Miyano and Miyano realizing his own feelings. And it's not only the blooming realization, but also as the buds are opening, symbolizing how Miyano is becoming more open to Sasaki and to his own feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had that as well. I was just like, oh, it's the fruit of the loom. No, I'm just kidding. But like the stuff dropped out the flower. I was like, he's here. He's finally bloomed.
Yeah, and then, I did have some other thoughts, but then I was like, no, this is a sweet love story. There is nothing lewd. We're not going beyond that.
Yes. Keep it innocent. Yeah, I feel you. I had that as well. In addition to that, there was discussion about Miyano having gotten a haircut for being able to wear wigs more easily. And I liked that he got a haircut before a majorly transformative moment. And haircuts can be used either in real life or in media to kind of symbolize a transition or like something transforming in your life. Chika, do you have any other sprinkles?
Nope.
Okay, well, let us get into Floats Your Boat. Actually, I kind of want to just kick this off. I love that Miyano's class is doing an escape room for the cultural festival. I love escape rooms. My family, we try to do like a cheesy thing together every now and then. And last month's cheesy thing was, and my mom booked this months in advance because she's so funny, that we all went to an escape room together and we had the best time. It was so much fun. I just need to get back in another one. So I just love that that's what his class decided to do.
I've never done one.
I love puzzles. I love being a little detective. I'm a very observant person. So I was just we were all so into it. We got super stumped by a math puzzle though, because math is none of our things.
No. I would never get out.
Right. They were just like, shit. It was the last room too. They were smart to save the math puzzle for the last room.
No.
We were 2 clues away from getting out. But we didn't make it, unfortunately.
Carola, I'm going to go ahead and say, just knowing you, I don't think you'd like escape rooms, but I think we would be in competition of who we'd try to sacrifice first to achieve a goal.
I have this idea too that I wouldn't like it, but it could be because every time I see like footage of escape rooms, it's like the horror ones, and I would just die.
No.
Like I would not survive.
No. I think I would enjoy a horror one, but we definitely did not do a horror one. It was like a Gold Rush theme.
Oh,
like,
I love Gold Rush.
In the gold mine. Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, it is such a fun thing to do with the family.
Yeah. Oh,
Look at these kids having fun, modern activities. One of our high school activities was called car bashing.
oh boy.
Well, that's a classic, isn't it?
I sound so like a hick. So car bashing is when your school buys an old junker car and students pay to beat the crap out of it with baseball bats and sticks.
So pre-rage room.
Yeah.
Oh.
I took the bumper off of a car one year and no one bothered the anime club for the rest of the semester.
Nice.
Sounds like a great way to blow off steam after like exam season.
Yeah.
So like, look at this nice, fun, modern activity, and then here in Texas, like, here's a bat and an old car.
I want to see that in a high school anime one day.
Yes. Carola, do you have any Floats Your Boat to share?
The first one on my list is, again, the Fujin phone convo. And Ogasawara just freaking out as always. I think he's so funny when he's just having his moments because he's just panicking everywhere. I just want to be his girlfriend's friend because I also love delinquents, okay? I want to talk to her about delinquent ukis all day. Like, please, let me be your friend. So I really like that scene.
I have a name.
Yes, but we are already friends.
Chika, do you have any Floats Your Boat?
So Miyano rereading a story from the beginning because one of the scenes was so good. That is like so me.
Yeah.
In a very bad way. So I related. It's like, oh, and like he didn't look beat up because it was high school, but like because I still do it and I'm in my 30s now, I do look like somebody beat me up, but it's a fun time though. I would also say it looks like in this episode you kind of see, I mean, of course, and at the end, you see Miyano slowly falling for Sasaki's physicality.
Oh my god. Can I piggyback off of that, please?
Sure.
Okay. There is like a very specific moment that like got me. Well, there's actually 2 very specific moments that really got me. One would be when Sasaki jokes, probably not fully joking, you know, that he would, like, can he kiss Miyano's forehead?
The forehead kiss.
And Miyano privately thinks to himself that if nobody was around, he would probably let him. I loved that. The barrette The barrette scene.
And he pulls his hair.
When I tell you I literally squealed and had to pause the show, like, just like, oh my God, Sasaki takes the barrette out of his hair and he's just like, oh, I hope it didn't like make bumps, which means that he cares about what he looks like in front of Sasaki. And then Sasaki combs through his bangs with his fingers and he must have grazed his forehead because just like the novel he stayed up to reread, Sasaki's fingers were cold, which meant that he must have been nervous. And then he recalls that they were cold every time he touched him. Oh my God.
Shoujo moment.
I literally
Shoujo Sundae.
being resuscitated to life from the show. Shoujo Sundae is going so hard right now. Yeah. Amanda, do you have more floats or boat that you want to share? I have one more prior to the end myself.
No, go ahead. It's fascinating. Like, it's very, very interesting to me because it's like, this all is very, very cute. And it almost is like cotton candy for me.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you take one bite and it's gone. So it's fascinating to me to like, oh yeah, like that was really, really cute. So no, you run with it.
Okay. Well, my other floats your boat is, guys, the breadcrumb. It might have to be the title. I'm sorry, Chika. The breadcrumbs, breadcrumbing once more. When Miyano is just like super further processing his feelings as Chairman Hanzawa, sorry, is describing like what it's like to have feelings for someone and the different ways that that can manifest. And then he drops that you can't get them out of your head. And it really makes Miyano realize that he's been thinking about Sasaki all day. And I just really loved that scene because the chairman was just so open and honest and helpful with him without even prying as to why Miyano was asking. Like, that was just some really sweet advice from one person to another. And it also just loved seeing it push him, Miyano, further into his feelings for Sasaki and, like, reaching that realization.
Yeah, like, I guess just going back to that whole, like, village thing, like, I think the chairman knew, well, maybe not Sasaki, but he knew that Miyano must have liked somebody to be asking him that and stuff. So it's just nice that they have these people in their corner sort of kind of guiding them to, like, where they want to be. Yeah.
Shall we talk about the moment?
Sure, I compartmentalized it because I have feelings, but the good part of it was just Miyano realizing that he likes Sasaki while he was in his arms. I'm just like, oh, yeah. So sweet. Just like, I've got to, like, that's the thing, because I know, Amanda, you said that it's like cotton candy, so it's like gone. Like, for me, I've got to savor this because when we're watching shoujo shows or film, but still, you just have to wait and wait and wait.
Yeah.
And, like, to the point that if things don't happen, then it's like, Giana, you have to write a fanfic because...
Yeah, I am put to work.
Because, like, so many things are unfinished, and it's like, okay, I know that it's a ploy to read the manga. I'm going to read the manga, but damn, I want to watch it on screen. Yeah. And so seeing this, it's like, yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, Carola never demands for me to write fanfic. That's because I write fanfic about
I like your horrible people fanfic. But, I am stuck in a never-ending torrent of kin Porsche fics, and I'll never get out. Brave of you to assume I'll ever read anything else ever again in my life.
Before that moment at the end, I realized I didn't even write anything specific out. I think I just had like a reaction to it, just like the lead up and the tension and the realization, like finally, just like the whispers of thoughts, like the yearning between them. I literally got chills watching that scene.
Especially when he locked the door, because I was just like, wait, well, that was like banana split. But I was just like, what are you locking the door for? Carola, do you have any other floats your boat?
I do have a couple. Like, one of them is literally just a note where I'm like, yes, Mia-chan, I too enjoy someone accidentally falling for their friend after seeing them cross-dress. Good trope. Referring to, I forget his name now. What's his name? The blonde one, who is not Hirano. Yeah, who is, confused by Kurosawa's cross-dressing. But yeah, I have two that are a little deeper. I really like that Sasaki and Miyano are continuously talking about their non-relationship and, like, their feelings and keeping things bottled up and then making their own ideas and freaking out about them, like we see so often in these types of situations in BL and shoujo. So I really like that they are, it's on the, it's on the down low. They're not like, because again, Sasaki doesn't want to pressure Miyano, but like they're continuously talking about it and kind of reassuring each other. And I really like that.
Yeah.
And then there's that montage when he's talking to the chairman and they're talking about the various types of love and, seeing the various forms of expressions. And, you're seeing all of these couples and, Ogasawara on the phone with his girlfriend and Kurosawa with his girlfriend and then Sasaki and Miyano. And then my Hirano and Kagiura crumbs, like just this little Hirano and Kagiura, I can see you. That made me very happy.
I want to see more about Hirano as well. Just like,
Yeah.
I mean, the fairy godfather, I want that love too. I want to see all the loves.
I love him. And I have this terrible tendency of falling for all the side couples and side characters. So I'm over here like, Hirano and Kagiura. Like, they also have their own spin-off series in the manga. And also I think there's like a small OVA about them that came with the movie, but I haven't seen it yet.
Ooh.
I'm not noticing a pattern here at all, Carola.
Don't shut up. Listen, I cast one glance at that boy and I was like, yes, that one. I want one.
There's not a pattern here
No.
whatsoever.
But yeah, I think, okay, the ending scene where, because I wasn't entirely floats your boat about the ending, like I like that.
Okay, so we're in Banana Split now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked that Miyano, I liked that he realized his feelings in Sasaki's arms. But
Yeah.
I think I had mixed feelings over it because he locks the door and then it just sort of seems like he took this stance as if he was upset with Miyano for doing the cross-dressing. I get that he was upset for Miyano's behalf, but it didn't really come across that way. And it was like you could see Miyano rationalizing the way that Sasaki talked to him at that moment, even though Sasaki was like, oh, that's wrong, or like how I said it was like wrong. I mean, you take the good with the bad, and it's like not entirely bad because I know he was technically doing it on his behalf and just being like, fuck peer pressure or whatever. But like, yeah.
My thing in particular, in Banana Split about when Sasaki kind of talks to him in an irritated way was when Miyano's reaction was, he's worried about how he talked to me. Why? Oh, he likes me? How is that a realization? Like, that has been clear for how long now? Like, why are you shocked?
Because this is BL and...
But he already knew. He
but we need to have that
knew.
moment because,
Twice.
to bring back something like, okay, let's have a look at Junjo Romantica, for instance. It's like, you've been with this man for 3 years and you are still screaming, but you're a man every time he comes near you. Like, that is just, unfortunately, what we have to live with in this genre, and I hate it here.
Oh. Amanda, do you have any Banana Split?
No, I mean, like, I think sort of just piggybacking off of what Carola said especially is that, so much of that stuff is trope as old as time, that it's like, oh my gosh, this person that said with words that they like me likes me. Gasp.
Right.
I mean, their brains aren't fully developed though. They're teenagers. Maybe
Yeah,
That's
they're
true.
kids. So I think it's just that, and it's processing that. I think I take it with much more stride because I think for me, the suspension of disbelief has to almost like write everything off as like they're dumb kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I have to like put everything in like a little box because otherwise I would just be like super hypercritical, and it's like they're kids. They're kids. This is how kids communicate. And sometimes, it doesn't matter if you're told with words, "Hey, I like you." It's, "Wait, this person likes me?"
I have one more Banana Split, and it was a confusion point. I should have went back and like rewatched the little sequence of, it seems like the chairman's thoughts when he's talking about what it means to like someone. I was wondering if I was meant to interpret that with him having a crush on Hirano or someone. I didn't know how to interpret like those thoughts, or did I like miss-see something? I don't know.
I wonder if the chairman was actually thinking about Miyano at that point. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like, I literally just finished watching the whole series, and I don't know what to make of the chairman.
Okay. Interesting. I'll just keep an eye out to see what I can pick up on. Is there any more Banana Split?
Wasn't sure if this belonged under Banana Split or like Ice Cream, You Scream, but like just piggybacking, you guys, what you said about the scene in the classroom that, again, Sasaki being possessive and kind of teetering on that point of wanting to almost control, it's so frustrating. But then he's also, like I said, he's so self-aware, so at least he's trying. So it's like, I get frustrated because what are you doing locking the door and then making these demands? But then at the same time, he's not making excuses for himself. He's like literally checking himself and like doing better than a lot of other romantic interests out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually do have a Banana Split that is just like it's a confusion point, but it's
okay.
Again, it's like translation related because there's a point where Miyano is observing Kurosawa and his girlfriend when she comes to the school, and like they're arguing, and then they make up, and then they leave all happy together, and then he thinks to himself, he uses the Japanese word ryaju, and then it's translated into life goals. And I was like, but that's not what that means, because ryaju literally means real life or like normies, so typical like otakus talking about commoners. And I'm like, why have they translated it in that way? Because when I see that and he uses the word ryaju, to me it's almost like he's looking down on normies. Like I don't think Miyano is the type to look down on people, but it's just like it doesn't translate well in the way that they did it. So that was a little confusing, I felt.
Yeah, that is interesting. Okay, so moving into Rocky Road. I do not have any Rocky Road points. Does anybody have Rocky Road?
I had an emotional moment. It's the classroom, it's the locked classroom. And it all like came whooshing back to me when I watched it now from the first time that I watched it. I just remember feeling so many things when I saw it the first time. Like he locks the door. I'm like, what is happening? And then they're so close together. He's embracing him. And I'm over here like just in my feels like, will they kiss? Won't they? Is he being too brash and demanding? Yeah, same. And up until this point, I feel like I wasn't really that invested in their relationship, kinda. And then that scene happened, and like my Fujoshi heart just went completely like off the rails. I'm like, oh my god, just kiss him, just do it, And I had that moment. Like that was my I am going to throw this laptop across the room moment. I was like, yes, please, let's. There were a lot of emotions.
Yeah, it really looked like they were both leaning in at that point. I was definitely having the same reaction for sure. Getting into nuts, I also don't have any nuts points. Does anybody have any nuts points?
Nope.
Okay, hot fudge. Any hot fudge from anybody? I do have one.
Yes.
Okay, Chika, you go ahead.
The girlfriend hitting Ogasawara in front of the school.
Yep, exactly. That's what I have as well.
I think that, one, I do think that it's nice to be able to share your hobbies and stuff with your partner and for them to have a general understanding and acceptance of that, because by accepting your hobby, they're also accepting you as well. So I feel like his girlfriend needs a Carola in her life. Or just basically like another person that is into BL and stuff, so that like when it comes to all of the feelings that she has, she's able to share that with someone who equally feels exactly like the same way, and they can trade notes and get into different things and stuff. But when it comes to this relationship to begin with, I feel like they fight so much that I would prefer that they break up. But especially after she decides to go to his school to figure out their situation, and then she puts her hands on him, I don't like that, because like I just don't think people should be putting their hands on anybody. Like, especially if this is somebody that you claim to love and stuff. And he's saying, even outside of that, that if I was going to have a nuts point, it would have been Ogasawara saying that he planned on marrying her. Like, what the hell is that? But regardless, like, I just think if they care about you, or at least he's doing what he can to try to understand where she's coming from and being like, Miyano, be my translator, like, or whatever. you shouldn't also be putting hands on them.
No, I'm right there with you. That was my hot fudge as well. Going into I Scream, You Scream, which I actually don't have anything of note, so I do not have any. Does anybody have I Scream, You Scream?
For you, the depiction of Ogasawara's girlfriend, like, how did that make you feel as Fujoshi's? Like, do you think that it was good representation for you, or?
No, of course not. No, of course not. But good isn't a value judgment that I use. I mean, I think the thing is that, like, Carola and I both talked on the show about, like, how I'm using the biggest possible, like, scare quotes here, less than ideal during the height of our Fujin years. So is it good representation? Of course it isn't. It's fictional. Is it an accurate representation of someone at a particular phase of their life in one of the many ways that sometimes those expressions come out? Yes. And I think, again, just to the point of, like, you know, being around the block more than once and usually ingesting much harder core stuff, this particular incident of violence, while again in real life is a catastrophe, in comparison to other things that I have read, this was nothing.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I had, though, for that.
Getting into episode 9, I Want to Take Care of You, Senpai. Here is our soft serve summary brought to us by Wikipedia. Miyano struggles to define the nature of his attraction to Sasaki with certainty. Kurosawa takes notice of his troubles and invites him to go to the bookstore with him. Miyano later tells Sasaki he has decided to continue with the cross-dressing contest, and they make plans to spend time together during the cultural festival. During class, Sasaki comes down with a cold and goes to the nurse's office, only to find that she is absent. Outside, he meets Miyano, who was there for a minor burn he received in his cooking class. They go inside, and Miyano takes charge of caring for him, which Sasaki can't help but be captivated by. Miyano offers to walk him home, and Sasaki questions why, but he's disappointed when Miyano claims to be motivated by obligation. I don't like the way that's worded, so I'm going to just add to the summary that Miyano's response is, I want to take care of you, senpai, and not, I like you. The day of the cultural festival arrives, and Miyano and Kurosawa visit Sasaki in Hirano's class, where they are hosting a delinquent-based cosplay cafe. And that is our soft serve summary. Getting into themes, I'm going to be up front and say I couldn't think of a theme for this episode. Sorry. Amanda, do you have a theme?
We were talking about, like, the different types of love, and I think seeing, like, caring, I mean, that feels so, like, Cliff's Notes. But it really is, because while that level of empathy and care and dedication can be absolutely expressed platonically, it's also usually a pretty good sign of deeper feelings. I mean, I, like most semeis, am horrible at being sick, so I've had my friends take care of me plenty of times, entirely platonically. Insert montage of Carola yelling at me to actually rest and not keep working.
Yes.
Oh, I understand.
So just like that genuine, like, caring theme, also not at all a theme, but delinquent-based cosplay cafe where Carola lives.
Yes. We will get to that.
Oh, great. Carola, do you have a theme for this episode?
I also thought it was hard. I feel like this is kind of like a bridge episode. Like, not much that is happening in and of itself, but like building on previous eps and branching into the final arc, kind of. But I feel like kind of maybe acceptance and setting boundaries are like soft themes.
Okay.
Boundaries and BL. This is amazing. Right. We didn't have those back in our day.
No, we did not, actually.
We didn't have those.
Do you want to elaborate on the themes, or is that...
I think that I actually have the boundaries at least under Float Your Boat.
Okay. Yeah, we can wait.
Yeah, but for the acceptance, it's kind of, again, coming back to Miyano beginning to realize and kind of understanding his own feelings and coming to terms with them.
Yeah, definitely. Chika, do you have a theme for this episode?
I said perseverance is key, but that's just more so like Sasaki doesn't know that he won, but we know that he won.
Yeah, it's like dramatic irony in that way. That could be a sprinkle on top, actually, dramatic irony in that we know that Sasaki's feelings are returned, but Sasaki does not. But I don't have any actual sprinkles on top. Does anybody have any?
So the locked door, because we are starting where the last episode left off, so the door is locked. And obviously, Sasaki wants to be undisturbed when he's talking to Miyano in that scene, but I also think it could symbolize, again, how he wants to keep him to himself. So, like, kind of they're locked in their own little bubble of their own little drama. And then there's the crossword puzzle that is being shared around the classroom, and Miyano is given it by one of his friends. And I think that can kind of symbolize how Miyano is trying to define his own emotions, and we mean how to interpret them and put them into words.
Oh, okay.
Carola using up all that professional writer skill.
No, I think it was a fluke, honestly. This is not how I think when I write, let me tell you that.
I've read your work. Yes, it is.
Amanda, do you have any sprinkles?
I think it's more of a motif than anything else, and it's that correlation between the honor and duty that you see in a lot of hierarchies in Japanese culture, and how that also can be perceived as, again, like another form of intimacy or love, like that dedication between like kohai and senpai, like that is important. You know, when I was president of the anime club, like we took our titles very, very seriously, and like because we were weebs, but like being senpai was very, very important to me, and I took care of my kohai. And like that in and of itself, like is a form of love. It is a form of dedication. So, and also I'm very Southern. So the idea of like, oh yeah, like you care for people, you take care of each other. All of that is not distangled from, you know, how we treat each other. Even if it's platonic, you still take care of each other. You gotta.
Yeah. Chika, do you have any sprinkles?
Nope.
Okay, well, let us move into Floats Your Boat. And if I may kick it off, Miyano has a thought where he's just like thinking about Sasaki and thinking about Sasaki. He's like, it feels like I could burst. And I literally wrote, like, you've got it bad, Miyano. Like, he simply cannot concentrate. This is full force crush.
Yes.
It just makes me happy. I like seeing it.
Like when in the very like beginning, and it looks like Sasaki is gonna kiss him, and both of their eyes were shaking. And I was just like, I feel like I was the devil on the shore. I was just like, do it.
Oh my God,
yes. Yes.
Go for it.
Okay, so we were in the same quarter, just like, kiss him.
Yes. All of us, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. There was a part of me for a second where I was like, oh my God, it's really going to happen. We're really going to get this kiss right now. But of course we did not.
Of course not.
Nope.
Because why would we on episode 9 when there's a few
Gotta
more?
suffer.
Yeah. As long as it's worth it. As long as it's worth it. Amanda, do you have any floats your boat to share?
I would like to stay in that delinquent cafe.
Yeah.
I would like to take up residence
Yes.
as a lounge singer and just sit there.
Oh my God.
I would never leave.
Yeah, I would like to take up residence. Allow me to remain there.
Yeah, it's it's a fresh concept. I like it. Like, please be aggressive, but then give me tea.
While
Like,
yelling at you.
While yelling. Yes.
I think I'm too soft for the delinquent cafe, but I would love to get my fortune read. I'm kind of witchy, so I love that shit.
I fully support that for you.
Thank you. Carola, I know you said you had things to say about the delinquent cafe, so if you want to elaborate on that while we're on the subject.
I mean, I literally just have a line that says, first of all, I went absolutely feral, in all caps, over the delinquent cafe, losing my mind. Like, you don't understand. Like, delinquents, yuppies are my favorite
That's
thing
her thing.
in this world. I am obsessed. When they opened that classroom door and Sasaki was there in that short jacket and with that face, I was like, oh my God, I have died. This is perfect. This is everything. And then Hirano appeared and I was like, I have ascended. Like, yes, please just let me live in that classroom. Like, if I went to that cultural festival, I would just stay there. I would never leave. They would never get rid of me. Oh,
Your
my
whole
God.
day. Oh my God.
I'm weak.
Chika, do you have any floats your boat?
Oh, I liked that Miyano acknowledged that he was wishy-washy. Because
Yes.
it's like, yes, self-awareness at that age,
Love to see it.
claps. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
I also like that he takes initiative and asks Sasaki to see the festival with him and like makes an effort to make plans. That's such a big step.
It's like the first time too, isn't it? Like it's normally, now we're gonna have to wait for Sasaki to clue in, because Sasaki, he's just shows up. He's very Edward Cullen. Like, you know what? I couldn't help myself. I had to make a Twilight.
It's always Twilight.
I love it. Make a reference.
How can you compare Sasaki to Edward Cullen?
Well, not like as like
just that he shows up.
He just shows up like when it's convenient. Okay. Like so only that, not all the other stuff.
Like, what secret series are you reading? What fanfic AU do you have? That was not shared.
Honestly, we do not know whether Sasaki is actually watching Miyano sleep, and he did actually in that one scene in that one room. In the committee room.
He did. He was watching him.
Don't feed into this.
What have you done?
No.
Oh no.
So it's just not as bad, but it's like he's just always conveniently there. But this time, Miyano was just like, no, let's have lunch together.
Yeah.
So it was really nice.
Carola, do you have any other floats your boat?
I have one that is just like a small note, and then two that are a little deeper. So for the absolutely pointless one, Sasaki at one point in this episode refers to Hirano as mommy, and I lost my mind. I love mom friends, okay?
Yeah.
But a delinquent mom friend? Like...
Even better.
I am here. Yes, he's the fairy godfather, he's the mother, he's everything.
I love it. I will add, while we're talking about the delinquent cafe and such like that, the fact that Sasaki is embarrassed about like acting like a delinquent in front of Miyano. That was cute. That was super cute.
It was so flustered.
Oh my god, yeah. I love the thought that Miyano has when he sees Sasaki sneeze in the nurse's office. He's like, oh, his sneeze is cute. Like, what a cute reaction. Like, gosh, you notice the most minute things about the person you like, and they become much grander than they actually are to, like, anybody else. And, you know, even something like a sneeze, like, that's adorable.
Yeah, especially when you're that young, just, like, everything is adorable.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, when I was that age, you know, I have terrible allergies, and... my boyfriend at the time and his friends would yell at me because I would like sneeze like 10 times in a row, and they were like, shut up! No one told me I was cute.
Oh, that's a shame.
I would kick them.
Yeah, they deserved it.
My other likes are really just essentially Miyano taking care of Sasaki in the nurse's office, and the I want to take care of you senpai line was really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's nice to see him caring. Like, he doesn't know how to quite communicate his feelings yet, or if he's quite ready to, but he's doing it with his actions.
One last one I had is just Hirano saying that Miyano is taking too long to reply to Sasaki. I thought that was really nice, because you usually see Hirano being like Miyano's champion, but then this time it's just like, oh wait, he's also Sasaki's friend, and you confessed in the summer and it's springtime? That's crazy. Like,
yeah. Carola, do you have any more floats your boat?
I can start with the nurse's office since we were just discussing it. For me, it's more about how it fits into the overall theme of how Sasaki and Miyano are constantly navigating these dynamics of their relationship, because like I mentioned episode 4 earlier, which is my favorite because it deals with so many of the BL tropes, and you know what your height signifies, like who is the uke, who is the seme, what are the relationships relationship dynamics. But Sasaki and Miyano are constantly like subverting those. Like, there's that scene in episode 4 when Miyano essentially, he trips and he kabedons Sasaki, making him the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
Sasaki takes his hand and Miyano looks up at him, and then it's reversed again. So in the nurse's scene is another one of those where he is the caretaker, so the quote-unquote feminine, caring partner, but it's something that's continuously fluctuating between them and is never static. I just think that it's so nice how dynamic their relationship is, and that how they are like constantly adapting to each other and like adapting those roles.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's the boundaries, just that, you know, like Amanda said, we didn't used to have boundaries in
Those
in
weren't
BL.
invented until the 2010s.
Yeah, or in shoujo for that matter. So he doesn't prevent himself from doing something just because Sasaki doesn't want it. And like that is so important in a healthy relationship, and it's such an important thing to do early on, because then you don't grow together as this dynamic where someone tells you what to do and then you do it, and then when you start to sort of tear free, it becomes, you know, it becomes so hard for everyone, and you're already in that kind of like not great mentality and not great relationship dynamic, so that he is setting his foot down and saying like, I'm sorry, but it won't feel right for me to not enter the competition just because it makes you uncomfortable. And I think that that's very, you know, like, look at him standing up for himself, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that took a great deal of strength for Miyano. It's clear how much he likes to think and process things fully before communicating, and I really appreciate that about him. And I like that at the end of his processing, he was like able to stand by what he truly felt was right. Okay, so moving into banana split, I just have one, and this is actually my last point for this entire episode. Nothing for any other segments, so I'll just knock this out super quick. So we get more of Miyano doing more outward things for Sasaki in this episode, but we stop getting his inner thoughts and his processing about the state of the relationship at a point. And I feel like I would have really liked to know if he was nervous or like thinking about his feelings when he specifically says, you know, I want to take care of you, senpai, or any of that in the nurse's office. It seemed very matter of fact, almost like he was just kind of going through the motions, but he just had this huge realization about this person. Like, wouldn't his hands be shaking or something? Or like, oh, like I'm taking his temperature, like his lips, you know, stuff like, you know, I just feel like I wanted some of that, and we weren't getting any of that.
I will say this, when you're in a caregiver situation, even with someone that you love or like a lot, that caregiver override is strong.
Oh, that's fair.
That caregiver
That is fair.
override is so strong.
That's a very fair point. Amanda, do you have any banana split?
Nothing that left me unsure or anything like that.
Okay. Chika, how about you?
I feel like just along the lines of him being sick, maybe it's just COVID. I wish he had like a mask.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
You guys are so sensible with your like theming and everything. It's like, I wish they had a mask. We had full on semes coughing up blood and then eating cigarettes with a knife and fork.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but with that said, though, they still wore masks on the train if they left. Actually, you know, semes in the 90s.
They were never on public transit because they had their own giant semi-car.
Cars. Never mind. Yeah. No, but that's such a good point, though, because normally they always wear masks, and Miyano wears a mask in one of the earlier episodes. Yeah, because they always wear masks, have like even like the slightest hint of a cough or something.
Which is the responsible thing to do.
You kids and your modern BL with your boundaries and sensible thinking. I'm so impressed by this younger generation.
We're not that, I don't think that we're that much younger.
We might not be physically, but like there's definitely like, almost like in paleontology, you can see like the sedimentary layers.
Oh my God.
Ours go, I think Carola and our sedimentary layers go back a little.
I feel like
farther.
I've been here for 2,000 years.
Yeah, so like, we might not be too far off age-wise, but like, yeah, we've been in this sandbox just digging for decades.
Completely unrelated. There's this band I really like, comedy band called Ninja Sex Party, and one of their earliest songs is called Why I Cry, and there's this like joking pickup line that Dan just says in the middle of it. He's like, you must be a fossil sample, and I must be an impatient paleontologist because I want to date you badly. And that's what that made me think of.
Oh my God. That's my friend's favorite band.
Love them so much. That's a whole other conversation. We'll be here all night. But Carola, do you have any banana split?
No.
Okay. Chika, do you have any more?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So does anybody have any Rocky Road? I do not.
I don't.
Nope.
Any nuts points?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Okay. Any hot fudge?
I have one. It's very small.
Okay.
I would like to report a robbery Like,
Uh-oh.
why did they not afford, like, why couldn't they afford to give me Tashiro and drag during this school festival?
Yes!
He did say he wanted to be a substitute, but we didn't get to see him. We got to see Kurosawa. And also, why didn't I get to see Ogasawara at the Yankee Cafe? The end.
Oh, yeah. That is a robbery.
You're right.
Yes.
That
We
would
were
be
wrong.
your
I have
point.
been robbed.
That's what fanfic is for. Go commission someone.
I have vet bills to pay. I can't commission anyone.
Oh. Do we have any ice cream you scream?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh.
Chika, take it away.
Just one. I got the ick because, so Sasaki, because he got sick, right? He'd been sneezing and doing all of that, like, over and over, and touching his hands. And it's just, you know what? This is just COVID culture just coming out of me. But he's just sneezing and sneezing into his hands and blowing his nose and all of, like, the gunky stuff, like, it touched his hands. And so then when he holds Miyano's hand, I was just like, release him.
Actually, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like, COVID has made me overly cautious when it comes to, like, washing my hands and what I touch and when I touch my face and, like, stuff like that. So I did think it, I just didn't write it down.
I get it when I see, like, real people.
Yeah.
Like, if it's like a live action movie or something, I'm much more of it. In animation, I'm sort of like, yeah, like, that suspension just
Oh,
is
true.
so
Yeah.
high.
I think for me, it was more like I had this brief moment of annoyance because when he's like sitting at the desk sneezing and sneezing and sneezing, I'm like, my first thought is, oh, poor baby has allergies. Because as I was watching this, I was also sneezing my head off. I felt very connected to Sasaki in that moment. But then he's like, oh, I just studied too much. And I'm like, is there anything that don't give people colds? It's like, it's
always at least
yeah,
one.
like you didn't sleep enough. You studied too much. You were in the rain for 2 minutes. Everyone catches cold. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But I think that's a me thing. I'm just like, what?
It's quite the trope,
Yeah.
for sure. Hey, folks. This is post-edit Giana here. I can't say editing Giana because this edit was so beautifully done by PJ of Kawaii Disappointment. But anyway, before we get into our outro, I just wanted to take a second and gush about Carola's BL book, Change of Heart. We had such a great time recording this collab that I wanted to check out her novel. And guys, I loved it. The characters were so fun. The scenario was so interesting. And I kept wondering how things were going to pan out on all fronts of the plot points. If you are a BL fan, or especially a fan of Sasaki and Miyano, I definitely recommend that you buy Carola's book. I've linked it in the show notes if you would like to check it out. Anyway, if it sounds like I'm doing ASMR, it's literally 3 a.m. and I moved into a new apartment, so the environment might sound different around me. Anyway, gushing over onto the outro. Is there any remaining ice cream you scream points?
Nope.
No.
Okay, well, we have made it to the end of this episode of Shoujo Sundae. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us, and a big thank you in particular to Amanda and Carola of the Yaoi Shelf for hanging out with us. Thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful conversation.
Thank you for having
Yes.
us. This was so much fun.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this will be coming out in Pride Month.
Ooh.
So happy Pride Month,
Happy Pride
everyone.
Month.
Yes, Shoujo Sundae in full
Happy
swing.
Pride.
Yes.
You guys are so organized.
We're the both of us are such big like planners about everything. We've already talked about 2025.
Gosh.
We've already planned
Yeah.
out the
What?
first half of 2025.
Look at these enterprising youngins. Just, oh my God. Look at you. I'm so proud.
I mean, we literally planned. We talked this in our previous episode. We literally used to like scramble to find a topic the day before recording.
We don't do that anymore.
That
thank
was like
God, 'cause
that was
we're-
like 3 years
We're
ago.
both
that's
going
good.
gray. But, I'm so impressed by you guys.
Oh gosh, thank you so
thank
much. We're impressed by
you.
you
Thank
guys.
you.
Oh God.
Yes, I've been a fan, so this is just nice.
How long have you been a fan? Have you been listening since?
In and around when Carola first started.
Good time to pick up.
So it's very, that's why I was just like, it has to be the Yaoi shelf.
Aw.
Oh, well, we appreciate you for thinking of us, and thank you for
Yeah, thank
giving
you so
us
much.
something nice and fluffy to recover from.
Yes, absolutely. A healing experience for all.
And
Yeah.
I love that this will be coming out during Pride. Like, that's such. I think one thing that I did really take away from this was how nice it is to have these stories that are really low stakes and that are
Yeah.
so clear. Because I feel like we talk about that a lot in our show is, you know, not every queer character needs to have, like, everything go wrong with them. Not every queer
Yeah.
story needs to
Yeah.
be just these overly dramatic, you know, everyone dies and everything is horrible stories. While those are true and they do happen and there are
Yeah.
issues that queer people face, it is nice to have these stories where just everything is fine. The biggest decision you have to make is what to have for lunch. Like, that's healing in a lot of ways.
Definitely. Yeah. Before we get into our outro spiel, let's just give a huge thank you to all of our magical, wonderful patrons. So, starting with our Sprinkles patrons, thank you so much to Pete, PJ, Miles, and Akemi. Moving on to our whipped cream patrons, thank you so much to Mary and Mark M. And last but most certainly not least, our wonderful hot fudge patrons. Thank you so much to Mark D, Mackenzie, AJ, and Aaron. Thank you so much for being our patrons.
Thank you.
All right, so moving into socials, starting with our wonderful guests, the Yaoi Shelf. Where can people follow you online?
I will be behind a dumpster next to a 7-Eleven eating Nerds Rope and drinking
Okay.
Dr. Pepper.
Wait, the Nerds Rope
Ooh, they
bites.
have gummies. Oh my god.
They're so good.
I will be with the possums behind a 7-Eleven. No, you can
I
find
have a
us.
name.
Carola and I. Oh my gosh, we're like that one image of Shigaraki and Dobby, but as a possum and a raccoon.
Oh my god, yes. I'm Shigaraki,
Oh my
right?
god.
Yes.
Yes. Crusty
But
little man.
you can find us all over the social internet at the Yaoi Shelf. We are on Blue Sky, Twitter, I refuse to call it X, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts.
Awesome. Do you want to shout out where people can follow you individually?
If you go outside and leave out a volume of Twittering Birds Never Fly and a chocolate bar, you'll be able to summon me.
Perfect.
I can be found at Author Carola on mostly Twitter and Instagram. And I can also be summoned if you put down some licorice and a volume of gravitation. I will be there.
Does it have to be salty
Yes.
licorice?
It's the only one that matters.
You can find me at Aichi Yume on Twitter, and my blog, you can find it at amandaactually.com.
Fantastic. All right. If you would like to keep up with Shoujo Sundae, you can follow us at Shoujo Sundae. That's Shoujo with a U and Sundae like ice cream sundae across all socials, including Blue Sky and Threads. If you would like to
Ooh.
follow us individually, I am Giana Luna. You can follow me at Giana_Luna_ everywhere. On Blue Sky, it's just Giana Luna, no underscores. You can stream my debut single, Twilight Champagne, on any music platform, or you could go outside and leave a Twix bar and a Stardust DVD. Chika, how about you?
If you would like to follow me, my preference is that you join our Discord server, Shoujo Sundae Discord, that is in our link tree. Yeah, you know, like the internet is interneting. But yeah, so like follow me in Discord because I'm more comfortable in Discord servers. But then outside of that, if you really do want to be like, Chika, like I need more or whatever, you can go on Instagram or Blue Sky at Chika Supreme. That's Chika with a K and not 2 C's. And if you would like to summon me, you can put Basara by Yumi Tamura, volumes 19 and 20 in which I don't have to pay you outside of your door, I might even make you spaghetti if you do that. So yeah, you could summon me that way.
Fantastic. All right. Well, next time we talk to you will be our Sasaki and Miyano finale episode. We will see you then. Bye.
Bye.